Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen and today is going to be my June wrap up. Today is June 1st, which means Whateverathon has finished. And for those of you who are curious, the two of you, I have hit my goal. I was going to post a last vlog for this, but I wasn't really sure what content I had, and then I went to go find it and I couldn't find any of it, so you get a wrap up instead. So if you have not seen any of my other Whateverathon vlogs, I am going to talk about all the books that I've read the entire month of June in this video, but I do have two vlogs for the first 3 weeks of the month. I will try to remember to link those. And so yes, I did hit 10,000 points, 10,125 to be exact, and I finished 12 books. I think the thing that, because the original goal was 15 to get there, and I think once the first couple of days of Whateverathon kicked in and I realized I had to be really strategic about what I read and when I read it, it was a lot easier to pick books that filled prompts that got points, and I didn't need to read 15 books. I only needed to read 12. Probably could have read less if I had been better prepared, but it's over. I achieved my goals, and that was great. So, and Team Beach readers got over 10,000 points from just little old me. So, just quick, not that you'll see this, but thank you, Maddie, for hosting this readathon. It is one of my favorites, and I was really excited to get to participate this year. As I mentioned, I did finish 12 books. There is another, plus there's another DNF. There's a DNF in there, but I had a really good month. I think literally everything I read was queer, and I got to read some books that had, some of the books that I had, really excited to read, some books that I maybe wouldn't have picked up had they not filled prompts. So I'm really glad and happy with the reading that I did this month. We had 2 2-stars, 9 4-stars, a 2-star, a 3-star, and a DNF. I'm happy with that. So we'll just go through the books as I read them. I think this is the order in which I read them. The first book I read was Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This was I started the month with a 5-star read. This is a sapphic contemporary romance that follows Delilah Green, who returns to her hometown to help. She's a photographer. She has returned to her hometown to help photograph her stepsister's wedding. They're kind of estranged, but she agreed to do this. And when she gets there, she runs into Claire, which is one of her sister's best friends. And they were kind of mean girls in high school, so they kind of don't get along, but they begin to form a relationship. And this one hooked me in like almost immediately, like right away. The writing was just so good. The characters are great. So by the time I was like maybe like 35 pages in, and I was like, this is going to be a 5-star. And I was right. I really loved this. I really loved Delilah. I loved Claire. Claire's a single mother who is also dealing with some drama with her child's father. I just really loved this. I am excited for the sequel that's coming out. It's not like the next book in this series. I don't even know what this is actually called, but I believe this is like a series all set in the same world, all following these women who are in here prominently. I'm excited to get to it. This was fantastic. The next thing I read, which was most definitely a book I only read because it filled a prompt, is Even If We Break by Marika Nijkamp. This fit the summer thriller prompt, and I do like Marika Nijkamp. I read This Is Where It Ends and Before I Let Go and really enjoyed them. This is a YA thriller, but thrillers are usually not my thing. But there was a prompt, so I had to fill it. So I used this. This is a YA thriller that takes place at a cabin in the woods where a group of friends who are sort of estranged from each other meet to play like a D&D type game, and then people start dying. I actually really enjoyed this. I think I mentioned this in my vlog, but because thrillers aren't my thing, I gave this 4 stars. So in terms of thriller, I have no idea if this is good. But in terms of a book that I read, that I enjoyed this a lot. I really enjoyed the way that the character dynamics was going on, especially because everything's a little bit tense. There's an enormous amount of representation in here. We've got characters with autism and characters with physical disabilities and mental illness rep, and there was something else and I can't remember what it is. But I really enjoyed this. Again, I just don't know. It was good in enjoyment. I don't know how good it would be in terms of a thriller. Next, I read American Squire by Sierra Simone. This is a novella that takes place after her new Camelot series, which I read earlier this year and was obsessed with. This one was okay. It was only like 40 pages. So like, I feel like had it gotten like a 300-page book, it would have been much, much better. Because everything's a little bit rushed. I did give this 4 stars. I don't really remember why. This feels like more like probably a 3-star, but like I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was actually a kind of a setup for, this was not the next book I read, but it's kind of a bridge book between the new Camelot series and her, what's this called? Is it just A Lesson in Thorns? No, Thorn Chapel series. So American Squire is, I can't even really talk about it because a lot of the like lead up to the novella is spoilers for the new Camelot series. But basically it follows Ryan, who has gone to Thorn Chapel to find a book for, his name is Merlin. And while he's there, he meets, what is his name? While he's there, he meets Sydney, and the two kind of form a relationship. I don't even know how to describe this book. It was very much, it felt very like, it was very easy to see the way that it connected this series, like New Camelot and Thorn Chapel, because there's another character in there who is a main character in Thorn Chapel. I don't know. It was good. It was all right. I don't remember really, apparently, because good and all right are not the same. I enjoyed it. Again, it was only like 40 pages, so it was just kind of quick. Next, I read Him by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. This is a male-male hockey romance between, I'm going to forget people's names, Jamie and Wes. And a few years ago, Jamie and Wes were like best friends. They went to hockey camp in the summer, and then all of a sudden, I think it was Wes. Yes, Wes stops kind of speaking to Jamie and kind of just abandons him, and they don't hear from each other, even though they're separated like through most of the year. Like they don't hear from, they were usually in contact, so like no, you know, he doesn't hear him. He completely cuts Jamie. Wes completely cuts Jamie off. And then the last year of college, I think, because I think this happened right after their senior year of high school. 4 years later, in their senior year of college, they run into each other again and have to kind of work through their past and their present feelings. This was really good. I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. There is a sequel and like a novella that go with it that I am going to be reading hopefully sometime this year. I'm really excited to get to this. I want to get to it before, well, this is still sort of fresh. I really enjoyed this. Next was Lesson in Thorns by Sierra Simone. Okay, what I've realized in the time that I finished, I gave this 3 stars. In the time that I finished, I realized I think I went in this with different expectations than what this really was. I think I was expecting more plot. Therefore, when there was no plot, it like didn't mesh with me. So I think that was my main problem here, because I went into this with super high hopes and I knew it was going to be smutty. Like I knew there was going to be a lot of smut. I read the new Camelot series. There's a lot of smut in there, but I could have sworn there was more plot. So this, I don't even know how to properly describe this book. So this is a story of 6 people who knew each other 12 years ago. So I think they were like all around 10. And they met at Thorn Chapel when their parents had gathered there. And 12 years later, they return. There's a whole lot of mystery involved, including our main character, whose name is Poe. Her mother has disappeared. She gets offered a job at Thorn Chapel to hopefully try to find her, where she runs into all the other kids who she's been desperate to see, but like she was also just, there's like this, they all decide to perform this pagan ritual. I don't know how much of spoilers because like this is very character driven, plus it's erotic. So there's not a whole lot of plot, so I can't decide what's an actual spoiler. There were parts of this that I really enjoyed. I liked the characters. Oddly enough, what was his name? The priest. What was his name? Starts with a B. What is his name? He was my favorite. Poe would never shut up about how much she wanted to sleep with literally everyone, and then kind of does. And there's a lot of like angsty stuff going on inside there, which is what I did enjoy. But like, I think the fact that I went into this expecting more plot hurt my rating of it. So maybe I do want to continue because there is a lot of mysterious stuff going on here involving pagan rituals and their history with their families. And I really kind of want to know what happened and what is happening. I just don't know when I'm going to get around to doing that. I was super excited about this and currently am not as excited as I was, but we'll see. Maybe I just have to be in the right mood. So who knows? I could read the next one and it could be 5 stars. Next, I read Arctic Wild by Annabeth Albert. This is a male-male contemporary romance about Ruben, who's an attorney who is about to go on his first vacation, kind of, not ever, but like in a long time, to Alaska. And then his friend backs out and he decides to go instead to kind of just prove that he's not a workaholic, but he's totally a workaholic. And when he gets to Alaska, he runs into Toby, who is his like guide. You know, they kind of have like a rocky like start, and then they go on, I forgot where they were going exactly, but they're in a plane and Toby is flying and there's a big storm and the plane crashes and both Toby and Ruben are injured. So Ruben decides to stay in Alaska and let Toby live with him while he recovers, and in the process they fall in love. I really enjoyed this. This is age gap, which can be iffy with me because I cannot stand when the entire conflict revolves around the fact that there's a gap in age, as long as it's like consensual and everyone's of age. Like if you are 30 and like 40, or I don't even know what it was like 30 and 46, like you're all adults. It's fine. Thankfully, this actually didn't have that issue at all. Like it was a bit in, like it was mentioned, but like it was not like the third act breakup had nothing to do with their age at all. It wasn't like I'm too old to be with you, like that. I can't stand it, especially if it like happens throughout the entire book. Makes me want to throw things. This one did not, and I really enjoyed it. And then I read another one. I don't know if I can tell you exactly what this is about, and that is The Alice 6 by Olivia Blake. This is a dark academia fantasy about 6 people who are recruited to potentially become part of the secret Alexandrian society, and 6 of them are chosen to like compete, but only 5 of them will make it. And this is extremely character driven. The first like half, I was like, this is going to be like a 2-star. I was convinced, like I was like, I don't understand what's happening here. Don't really know who anybody is. About halfway through, things finally started to click, and I really started to enjoy some of the characters and enjoy like reading from their perspective. So this actually did come out at 4 stars. I am really intrigued by the sequel that's coming out later this year. But I did like the characters. The writing was good. There just wasn't a whole lot going on, and I was kind of, I don't mind character-driven things. I just was not. It just takes me so long to get invested because there's not a whole lot of other things going on. It's a lot of like day-to-day type stuff. But I did end up enjoying this. I did give it 4 stars. I will be reading the sequel, and the only reason I read this is because it was a host fave. And of all of the host faves, I think this was the only one that I owned that I actually wanted to read at the moment. So thank you to Whateverathon for making me pick this one up. Next, I read The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. This is a political military fantasy following Terrain, who is a conscript for the, where is she a conscript for? For the, I guess, the country of Belladere. And after being framed for murder, she ends up becoming the assistant of the princess. And as part of that, she is asked to infiltrate the rebel groups who are currently, to try to get peace, because the queen wants peace, or the princess wants peace. But when she's in the rebel group, she finds the things are not always they should be, and she's unsure of where her loyalty should lie. Luca is our princess, and she's just trying to get her throne. Her uncle is currently on the throne until they can transfer power. But she's trying to get peace between the rebels so that her uncle can and will give her that power. She takes on Terrain after Terrain is almost sentenced to death, and the two form a relationship that this is sapphic. The romance is tiny, but I really enjoyed this. The sequel is coming out next year, and I am very excited that I read this. I do really enjoy this. The writing was good, and I believe this is a debut. So I'm excited. I think the second book is called The Faithless, and I will be picking that up. I gave this 4 stars. Then I read Arctic Heat by Annabeth Albert. This is the 3rd and final book in the Frozen Hearts trilogy. This also takes place in Alaska and follows Owen, who is volunteering with, what is he volunteering with? Like with the park rangers in Alaska, and he ends up working with and living with Quill, who is a grump. Quill, who is not necessarily a people person. He keeps to himself a lot, but when he is basically stuck in this cabin with Owen, they get to know each other, they get familiar with each other, and through a couple of snowed in evenings, begin to form a relationship, and they fall in love, which is, it's a romance. If they don't fall in love, then it's not a romance. I really enjoyed this too. This one almost was 5 stars. This was a 4-star read. It was almost 5 stars. I really loved this. I really loved the kind of like isolated setting, because they're, you know, with Arctic Wild, they're going out and doing things. They're going fishing, they're going here, they're going out, you know, they're showing restaurants, and they're doing activities. And even when they're back in, like, we'll call them the real world post the accident, like they're going to the store and they're doing like very, you know, not mundane things, but the world is much more opened up. In this, we spend most of our time either in the cabin or like in the area around it, which is snowed in. So like I really enjoyed kind of the isolated setting where these two guys could just be. Like they had to use satellite phones. Like there was no like anything. They were very isolated with each other. So I really enjoyed this. 4 stars. And this finished off this series, which is you know, my big goal for the year, for them every month, is to finish a series. So I finished that. Next, I read Theirs for the Night by Katie Robert. This is what is this? Like 70-page erotic novel about a girl who is busy working all the jobs to pay for her bills and to pay for everything, and she's always constantly working because she needs money. And for her 23rd birthday, her friend's like, no, we're going out. But when she's out, she meets these 2 guys, and I don't remember anybody's names. She meets these 2 guys who she decides to go home with both of them, because they're also sort of in this is an MMF poly thing going on, and she just goes home with both of them. That's the story. I mean, there's some other stuff, but I think it's a spoiler because it happens at the end, because there are sequels that I might read. These are on Kindle Unlimited, I think, so like I might read them later, like if I need like a quick something, but not sure this was for me. I gave this 2 stars. It just, I think this as a setup for some things, maybe it was okay, but this wasn't for me. I mean, I knew what I was getting into. I still just didn't quite enjoy it. Like there was actually points in time where I had to like stop and think about how the smut was happening, because I was imagining different like it wasn't for me. I was expecting something better. I do still want to continue reading from Katie Robert, and I might read the series again. I knew what I was getting into, but this didn't do what I wanted. Then we had our only DNF for the month, and that was Ghost by Joel Abernathy. This is a male-male mafia romance that I DNF'd about halfway through, and it was only like not even 200 pages. Again, I knew what I was getting into, but I think I didn't really care for the writing, and then the smut was meh, and then like I didn't really understand why the two guys were even necessarily interested in each other, and then the knife came out, and I said, yeah, no. It was fine, and I probably would have finished it had that happened, but knife play is not a thing that I ever want to read. So I didn't. So it was what it is. I'm sure somebody out there is into it. It is just not for me. The next two I'm really excited to kind of talk to you about, and they have a similar theme because I accidentally gave myself a theme. The first one is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. This is another 5-star read. 2 5 stars. One was Dahlia Green. The second was this one. This is a male-male contemporary romance that takes place on the set of a Bachelor-like reality TV show. The relationship is between the Bachelor, known as the Prince, because the show is called Ever After. It's very fairy tale themed. And one of the PAs. So this is Charlie, who is the prince, and Dev. The audiobook pronounced it Dave, and I don't know what's correct, but I keep thinking about this book. I don't even know what like the writing was good, the characters were great, there was a lot of mental health rep in here that I really enjoyed. You don't enjoy, like I really appreciated the mental health rep in here, and there was this good solid like 30 pages where I was just sobbing through the whole thing in the best way possible. So I really love this. I kind of want to reread it already. This is definitely a contender for one of my favorite books of the year, and I believe the author has another book, a Christmas book, maybe. I think it's called Kiss Her Once for Me. I don't know. There's another book by this author coming out later this year that I will definitely be reading, and I really excited to. I think this is a debut. This is a debut. I don't know. If it's not, I'm going to go look for the rest of her backlist. So I read this one, 5 stars. And finally, keeping with the reality show theme. Spoiler: there's probably a reality show Trope Tuesday coming sometime in the next. And that is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. This is a contemporary romance between Dahlia Woodson, who is recently divorced and has kind of found cooking to be the way she kind of copes through it, and she finds herself on this reality TV cooking show called, what the hell was this show called? Chef Special, which not my favorite TV name, but that's fine. And there she meets London Parker. They are a non-binary contestant, and it's just them kind of going through the show, becoming closer as kind of like in more of like a friendship way. But London is in love with Dahlia like the whole time. I gave this 4 stars. This was super cute. I really enjoyed this. And yeah, I don't know. I think this is, Anita Kelly has other books out, but I haven't looked into them. I think they have another series. But I'm also happy that I got a book of the month book off of my TBR. And then in terms of TBR Takedown, I earned 23 points in the month of June, which means I can get a book guilt-free. I have something just arrived, but it was one of my pre-orders. And I've got some book of the month stuff coming, none of which applies, but it's almost like a get out of jail free card, like a free pass if for some reason some of these books with those 90-day limitations expire. So I got 2 points for every physical book that I finished, so there were 10 of them, plus an extra 3 for finishing the Frozen Heart series by finishing Arctic Heat. So currently I have 40 books remaining. I'm about to do sometime soon my kind of goals check-in, publicly making them available for the rest of the year, and I am like way ahead of my Goodreads goal, like really ahead, to the point where I could stop reading for couple of months and still, I think I could read, I'm at 58 books and my goal for the year was 70. So I could basically read 2 books a month for the rest of the year and come out exactly where I need to be. But I keep adding books to my TBR for July, so yeah. All right, so this is everything that I read in the month of June, plus American Squire and those 90 pages or however many pages of Ghosts that I read. It was a good reading month, and I'm actually really excited for July. It's the first month doing the TBR Takedown and using the TBR wheel for my TBR, so I'm really excited about all of the things that are to come. All right, that is everything for today's video. Please comment down below and let me know what your favorite read of the month of June was. Mine, I think it's The Charm Offensive. I know both this and Delilah Green got 5 stars, but this one made me cry, and if you make me cry, you get extra love. Please like this video if you have liked it, and please hit the subscribe button if you have not already. I would very much appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.